Hello again, everybody. This is Amorgin, and you're very welcome back to this special edition of Star Trek Fleet Command. And I'm very pleased today, guys, to welcome some special guests for this first ever community panel discussion on the game. And first up, we have fellow content creator Admiral Jansen of Server 12 at level 30, similar strength to myself. He plays there with his alliance Borg. Jansen has just recently hit 1,000 subscribers on his channel, so a big congratulations to him. Next up, we have Beyond the Stars, also known as Heck or Hecking Around, the baby of the group at level 25. He plays on server 28 with his alliance USMC New Camelot. Heck also has a very active Discord channel based around ships and about 1,000 people there. And last but not least, we have Enesius at level 32, the big hitter in the group. She plays on server 131 with her alliance XXX Space Raiders and also has a very active Discord channel as well, guys. So I link all of those channels below. Check them out. Some very interesting content there for some of you guys. And for the next 45 minutes to an hour, forgive any problems with the sound, guys, but for the next 45 minutes to an hour, I want you guys to sit back, grab a cuppa, relax, join in with this community panel discussion by dropping your comments below or coming in and joining us on Discord.
Hey.
Hey.
What's going on, guys?
Good day.
So, I'm very pleased to get you in here, lads. It's been a while coming, I suppose. We should have done this earlier.
Yes, in time.
So,
Yeah.
we're trying it out. We're going to see how it goes. If there's any issues with sound and all that, well, sure, we give it a rattle anyway. We've picked a couple of topics here, lads, to talk about in terms of how the game's operating. You guys represent a lot of the community out there. We're all very well respected, I would like to think, among the various different forums that we use. And we'd like to see improvements. We have parts of the game that we're very pleased with, I guess, as well. But one of the things that you brought up to me there, Jansen, was the warp issues.
So this is what I want to talk about in regards to warp. So the warp grid lines are completely messed up in the game. There is no reason a level 18 who's doing their combat training in Vidna Matrix cannot go to Suliban. There is select systems throughout where your missions need to be done. There is a mission that you have to go to Sol, and all you have to do is drop off at Sol. You don't have to fight anyone, you just need to get there. That's another Warp 40 mission, and I believe this is a level 22 to 26-ish mission for you to do. So these grid lines are all messed up in the game. For me personally, I'm at level 30, and my Saladin is a tier 7. It is warp 50. And I have to get to warp 61 systems because these grid lines are messed up. In order for me to do that, I have to spend another 900 uncommon gas to upgrade my warp drive to a 55 after I just spent on tier 6 1800 uncommon gas to upgrade the impulse drive, and then put Scotty on the bridge. That gets me a warp 60. I still can't get it into it, so I'm going to have to bring my Saladin up to a tier 8, and I'm going to have to upgrade that warp drive again to get to it just to drop off mission. And this is kind of my complaint with the game, is the grid marks of the warp, of being able to be locked out of certain systems just to drop off missions, just to complete those missions out. I think it's something that needs to be taken a look at. The other big thing is warp time. I'm trying to rattle my brain around why it takes me 30 minutes to sit waiting for my ship to warp to a system. I'm like, well, literally
30 minutes real life. It's not 30 minutes, it's our life.
I'm like,
looking at the screen.
Especially if it's a hostile system, because then you have to watch it.
How many times do we lost a ship in a hostile system?
Right. And
Too
I know
many.
the new research tree has the research for warp times, but as a level 30 right now, I have not seen the payoff. But I open that up to the panel to discuss that.
Do you
Yeah.
not think though that the new research tree is what's supposed to fix that in terms of all the warp range, or sorry, the lack of warp range, the all the warp speeds, the research you can do in that.
Well, according to
Uh,
Scopely, it is.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
they did it in a very good way that they are fixing the game, but we have to pay for the fixes, which is very intelligent.
Well, here's
Fair
another
enough.
thing. What happens when they open up dark space? How long are those warps gonna be?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Star Trek Online did this, and they fixed it with transwarp. So now you don't have to wait so long to get to a system. You can just transwarp and be there right away, which makes sense. And I get why there's a delay, because I think that's part of strategy. Like if you have one guy who says, my base is under attack and you back up, there's that strategy of, there needs to be some time to get there. But I don't think it needs to be 30 minutes or 20 minutes.
I would say as well, when dark space opens up, we're probably the only thing up there at the moment is G4. So G4 will have to become a thing. I don't want to digress off warp too much, but the chances are you're not going to be getting a G4 ship anytime soon if you're free to play,
Yeah.
or if you're not a big spender.
Of course not.
Well, this is my theory on that, Morgan, is they're going to be pushing those free-to-play players into those G3s very soon, because they're trying to push the game along, and they're trying to push that spending into G4.
So you're saying the last 2 years I've been trying to build up my Centurion is going to be for nothing?
No, but that's
Yeah.
the thing is that we have to have G3 ship. We had to grind a lot, and now you can just buy it, and then you
Right.
can just everything is getting easier and easier for things that we really grinded for. So for us, they have to give us something to. Now will be the G4, so it will be everything all over again, but with another for the G4 chipsets.
Yeah.
And hopefully they
Everything
look
will
better
start
than what I.
again.
Hopefully they're better than what I've seen the tests of the pictures of what they're testing on the beta server. Do you know the images of the ships that they tested? Like, and this might be a question for Heck because he knows more about ships. But what is it? The Kelvin that they put out there, the Coronar class.
The Teplaneth looks very like the Vaclus.
Yes, the
Or
Teplana Hoth. I'm like, seriously, why cannot we get a Vulcan war cruiser from Enterprise?
yeah.
Since this is past Enterprise, that ship looks so cool. Why can't we get a decent Vulcan ship
Yeah.
design? That's my take with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts on warp there, generally?
I think they should add some research that would increase your warp range for when dark space comes out, because those warps are ridiculous. Max warp of 200.
Yeah, and we were used on the founder
Crazy.
server to having great warp ranges. Like they've been nerfed. I can't see them going back on that anytime soon. Maybe they'll watch this video and they'll pay a bit of attention.
Hopefully. But yeah, warp range and warp times are definitely an issue. Because, I don't like warping 15 minutes into Klingon space just to be blown up immediately
Agreed.
and have to do another repair and go back in.
Yeah,
That's not
agreed.
fun. Yeah.
Anyway, right, okay, guys, we're going to move on to the strategy element. We were talking about the strategy of the game. You mentioned it there a little while ago, I think, Jansen, about the times you're waiting to go to these places. It's part of the strategy. But there are other thoughts on strategy.
Yes. So, honestly, I think the strategy, it's not really that deep because mainly the most strategy you're doing is officers, and there are basic setups that for everything. There are go-to setups that everyone's going to use. You're not really going to see variety of officer combinations because they're going to end up usually doing bad in combat, and so you're always gonna see someone with the Kirk Spock morale combo.
Yeah.
Always gonna see people with Nero
Gorkin,
and his
Kerla,
crew.
Harrison. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not really gonna see a variety of setup. Like they need to add more things to be interactive. Like, can I change the weapons to, you know,
Yeah, I seen a
can I edit
comment
the
on that
weapon
recently
around?
where somebody was asking why they couldn't. I don't know what channel it was in, but they were asking why they couldn't decide when to put up their shields and decide which weapon they wanted to fire first.
Yeah, like in the actual TV show, go to red alert, shields up. No,
Yeah.
the shields aren't up immediately.
Yeah.
Real thing.
And maybe that could be
Um,
a thing. Maybe you get increased warp speed, or if you don't have your shields up.
yeah,
But if you have to put your shields
resilience.
up, or maybe you increased even what impulse speed. Maybe your impulse speed is greatly improved if you don't have your shields up.
Yeah,
So you can nip around
makes
more like an interceptor in an explorer for a wee while.
yeah. It's definitely a feature that would be cool to play around with.
Mm.
This game isn't really that complicated when you look at it.
And
Most of the
then,
systems,
No, I think the
it
game
looks
is
like,
pretty basic, actually. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's made in a form that you don't have really the liberty to uh, make a lot of strategy. So the game is not built like I was talking before, like other games like Total War or Rome,
mm.
different games. But the thing is, this is I think this is not actually, it's a strategy game, but it's not, because it doesn't give you the option to actually control the battle. It's or the battles. It's I think very it's pretty basic. So I think to have
yeah,
strategy would be other things. Like I was talking to Amorgin, not so much in battles, but to create like systems where you can have like a system that would only be for battles, like a system that would give you some bonus if you would like we are talking about NPC bases or uh, different systems that would make different things that you could somehow interact in a different way and use what the game already has to create
yeah, like
strategy.
yeah, like having nebulas that would change like how certain weapons function in them, or how scanners work. Like
Yeah,
you could actually
something.
lose someone targeting you, because
Yes.
right now it's
One
you just tap a ship, press attack, and wherever that dude goes, your ship just autocorrects with it. So if they
And
like
it's
go in a
funny,
nebula, you lose that autocorrect, and you have to find them again and do it.
and it's funny that you mentioned sensors. So I put this up on the comments portion of the Discord, but I firmly believe Romulan and Klingon ships should be able to cloak. Um, but you can still work that into a triangle. So let's say if a Romulan ship is approaching your base and it is cloaked, then a Federation base that's Federation aligned can have an upgraded sensor to view it. And if you attack it while it's cloaked, it has no shields. So that would be a really cool mechanic to have, that they're taking the chance of approaching a base or your ship or whatnot while it's cloaked. But that would be part of the triangle. If they draw inspiration from other Star Trek games, like the Nebula is a kind of cool fascination, because in Star Trek Birth of the Federation, if you fought inside of a nebula, you had no shields. They didn't operate. And
Hmm.
then in Star Trek Armada, there were several types of nebulas. One would repair your ship really fast.
Hmm.
Another, the enemy couldn't weapon lock on you, and you couldn't
Oh,
weapon
that's
lock on
funny.
them. So there's a lot of great ways they could introduce some sort of strategy. And this is my big call out to Scopely, is if you want to be a game that has a long time history running, take a look and see what those games that have that are doing. I've played Marvel Contest of Champions for 5 years. It's been in the top 25 games for 5 years running, because there is overload overloading strategy in that game. They have over 150 champions you can use, and every single one does something differently. And if you want those gamers to become loyal to your product and be engaged in that product, that is where that element of fun and excitement comes from, is being able to strategize.
Okay, I hear you. I'm not familiar that much. I've heard of it with Marvel Contest of Heroes or whatever, but I'll take your word for it.
But don't you think that being a mobile game, it kind of well, you can play it in your computer, but I use a Mac, so I can't have BlueStacks. It kind of restricts your gameplay because, well, it's a small place to play, so
Right.
Yeah, that's
it
why it's simpler.
no, it's that's the point. That's why it's simpler, because it's a mobile game. I don't know
Yeah.
what could they actually do if they have so many mobile players.
But here's the twist to that
Mm,
is I don't know if anyone has read this or not, but
mm.
Scopely is trying to take Star Trek Fleet Command into consoles.
Oh, that would be
They
funny.
they also want to incorporate the entire Star Trek universe into the game, which is what we all want. And of course,
Of
they have
course.
to get the CBS licensing from that. Um, but um, but yeah, if they're thinking long term along those lines, those are the things that are going to be crucial once they get into console. Is this game the way it is right now will never succeed as a console game.
No, no, never. It
Yeah.
will be boring.
You drew a wee map for us, Anisius. It looks a bit like a pizza or something, but
Oh, don't
but
don't
but
say that.
the idea behind that, and I've heard others say it. Somebody suggested to me, I think it was Thaler suggested King of the Hill. I've suggested in the past something like Capture the Flag or Deliver the Package as game styles that are out there, tried and tested, very successful. Anywhere you do it, you can start one of these wee games when you've got a group of people anywhere with nothing, and it would be a nice little
Well,
touch if they investigated
I,
that kind of
I,
stuff.
I actually did that with two alliances. The Capture the Flag, which was basically
Okay.
a system where you had no one. One alliance occupies a planet, the other occupies other planet, and you have to raid the other. No one, the players cannot be based in that system. They all have to be around, and so you have one player in one planet, another player from another team in another planet, and you basically have to. The first one to raid 1 million wins. So you have a bit of PvP, of defense, and what it we could touch that point that the game is actually lacking PvP. They added now the raid event, which actually doesn't give much PvP. But that kind of plays that we can do into the game, it helps a little, but it's not enough. We need something like I suggested before, like the NPC bases where you can
Yes.
rate uncommon, and you can or have or win other things like 24-hour shields for, or even special powers. I don't know, add a bonus, or I don't know the name, but a reward that for imagine a 23 level that he's like an upgrade Sally. A 23 can be, but like I have right now my Bortus is powerful. My Sally is not. It's a T5. Like a bonus that would give me a T8 Sally for 3 hours that I could use it to raid a bigger player. So that for smaller players would be interesting, that they could actually, uh, raid bigger players. And so I think that kind of interaction, that uh, new interaction,
Yeah,
because something new. Like of course, swarms is nice, and data. I'm doing like the event data. That is getting, I don't know, for me it's like it's a mining event. It's
so yeah,
nothing
some
new.
people don't like mining events, and that's just the way of it. Like it's okay, like when there's nice rewards, but
No,
but it's sad when the players have to invent the content.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's like we can have ideas, and I can, do these games and promote these games, but in the end, it's like we are always pushing, like, we have to do the mining agreements, which I'm okay, because it actually, it's more organic to the server if they do not impose the mining agreement. But then created games so players that are bored can have PvP, um, or creating like something that we are going to talk, the communication and about players, that it's also outside. So till when Scopely will ask us or make us do what they should be doing, which is keeping players interested.
Yeah,
So
yeah, of
we are
course.
actually working for them, doing all these things which we are paying for them. So, well, the people who pay. So it's actually kind of a, well, I think I'm done, but it's, you see my point. It's
Yeah, I
also
hear
push.
you. Yeah. I think we've lost Hector. I think we've lost Beyond the Stars. So we'll see if he's able to get back. I know he's quite busy, but we'll battle on anyway here, guys. If you're happy enough.
Yeah.
You mentioned there,
Yeah.
Anisius, you mentioned something about the community and the communication. Now, I suppose, I don't want this to come across to people as though we're just here to have a whinge. I don't want it all to be negative and kind of like,
Oh no,
you know.
we are here and play the game because we love it. It's not, no, I don't. It's not. That's
Yeah.
not what I'm here for.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned there about the communication, and we've talked before. Like, for me, it's the community that is the big attraction to this. It's sitting here talking with you guys. It's meeting new people, seeing where different people come from, hearing their real life stories, and talking to them, and you're building relationships all of the time, and that's what holds my interest in the game. People that I know now at this stage, I've never met them, but I know them 2 years.
Yeah, I met some of mine. Yeah, it's very nice because you never saw them, but you are very in them. In very, they are. It's like you. It's very strange when you meet someone that you are talking for months and months, every day, many hours, and then you meet them, but suddenly it's, I don't know. I'm sure you met some.
Nope. No,
You never met someone from the same game.
we're so small in this country that we try to stay away from each other. Yeah, you mentioned communication. You had a very interesting one. Like, we want to talk about Armadas very soon, if that's at all possible. Hopefully,
Yes,
Heck can get back, can come back in time. But community and communication, I have here in terms of the community brings us back, and it's great, and there's real community spirit when you're talking to people, and I put a lot of that down to the sort of personality that becomes a Trekkie. I think that's what bonds people a lot. But you mentioned communication there as well, and now I'm always going on about communication with Scopely and between the players and Scopely, and we always try to do something about that. But do you mean that in the sense of communication with those other players, the people that you're meeting in real life sometimes, and all of that? You've encountered a few issues with that.
Well, I think, and just not to keep, I didn't come here to say only bad things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this game, the base of the game, it's good. The community is good. It's good to have a Lions chat, a Galaxy chat. But if you take Discord and all the other platforms out of the game, it's not sufficient. It lacks more. Um, like I said, Scopely still hopes that we do half the job, and which I'm not so okay, if it's like Jansen was saying, if it's a long run game, then some things should be improved faster. Some of the one things that we did was creating, and this is a good idea, I think, for every alliance. Hope that my server doesn't hear this. Is that we have a WhatsApp channel, and in that channel, no, but group, and we have two groups. One for when we fight a big raid and we want to share the big raids, and the other for when someone is being attacked. So if someone sees, they post it, and we all go online and we all defend. So usually we can, stop many raids using that, which is even well, it's quite practical, but at the same time it puts one thing that you said, the question of security. Well, we have to give our phone numbers to make the WhatsApp channel. Um, it's kind of gets out completely, because Discord is associated with Scopely, and you have the official channel there, and we can all interact with people from Scopely there. Well, more or less. But if what I'm saying is that it was, of course, it was my choice to make the WhatsApp channel, but the thing is, why don't we have these options, like more options that will able us to feel more, the game would be more complete in that field of you. It's like we receive notifications when we are being attacked, and mine is zeroed or something like that. And well, you guys already heard me saying this, so sorry for repeating, but the new news panel could be used for notifications of the players as well, like the Admiral or the Commodores could post if someone is being raided. They would post in the news panel that someone is being
Ooh, I
raided,
like
and all the
that.
players would receive a notification that someone is being raided, or someone needs defense, or big raid. That some it would be very practical. Or for example, the Admiral could send a message to all the players. That for me, it's like crazy that we cannot, that I have 73 players in my team. I'm not going to send 73 messages. Well, I've done it, but I think it's stupid. So why can't we just send a message to all, like we are at war with someone? And that could be also, of course, we have the alliance thing where we can write, but should be something more interactive, not so, not so still. So my suggestion would be this one, like creating a news panel where we would receive notifications, not from all the players, so your cell phone is not always beeping, but from the Admiral and the Commodores, and that will make WhatsApp useless. So it's something very simple that they could do. That,
Very
like,
practical. Yeah, it's practical.
yeah,
And shouldn't be too hard. You wouldn't
no,
imagine it would be too difficult.
no, I'm sure it wouldn't. So even the things they upgraded recently, like the chords you can save. Oh my God, how could that not be done yet? It's just but okay, it was done now. I'm happy that it's done. But or the missions or everything, so little details that like the missions, I imagine that as an email that you can archive or not. So it's the basic function of that mission. I don't know how to call it, mission.
Well, we do have archiving missions now.
Now we have, but everything is uh, it's you are guys are playing for 2 years. I'm playing for since February, and now we are in September. So I think that I don't know. I don't know. I think that there's a, and I remember I'm talking too much. Sorry, but I remember you telling me that there were some things that they actually, from the videos that you guys make, that they actually listen to the people, and people complained, and they, you know, took action on it, and that's very nice. And I just wish that they continue to do it. That's why I'm saying it.
Right.
So
Okay,
that's
Jansen,
my point.
any thoughts on that stuff?
No, I think everything Anisius has said about the issue of communication is very valid, and speaks to the point of could be very easy fixes to the game. The only thing I would add to that is, instead of texting, make it more prompt based for the leader to just click and click and that goes out to all alliance members. Base
Yes.
rated. Here are the coordinates, and it
Yes.
goes out. But I
Yes.
agree. My biggest issue with communication is very basic. It's why can't private messages be saved?
Oh,
Why can't they
yes.
stay where they're supposed to be? That is my biggest issue with basic communication. I have played other games. In other games, they typically do require third-party apps for better forms of communication, but I haven't seen it where your basic PMs drop off.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, little things. Yeah, that's in the end you really feel. Uh, well,
Okay.
things
Okay,
things very.
Heck is back with us. Sorry, Anisius, for interrupting. Heck
No,
is
no.
back with us just to catch him up. We're just discussing the communication within the game. Heck, we're talking about how a mail all in your alliance, how you would mail every member in your alliance in one message would be useful. Anisius had a nice idea about the view screen in the middle of the base possibly being an area where an admiral or a commodore could post messages for their entire alliance. The communication within the game, as opposed to necessarily having to use Discord or WhatsApp or Facebook or anything else.
Yeah, that's very important. Communication is always key. You just need to be able to find ways to communicate. Right now, I do not like going through and PMing every single person something.
Yes, of
I don't like
course.
having to search for specific people. There should be like a place where I can enter a name, bam, they show up, and I can
Yes.
send them a message.
Were you listening to us when we were talking before, or you just got in now?
I just got back in.
Yeah,
so.
we're not live, and this is a recording, and
Sorry.
hopefully the quality of it comes out all right. And apologies if it's not. It's raw and it's ready, and we'll deliver it as it is. I'll just do minor editing on it, try to tidy it up. But you're just in time, Heck. We're going to move on to discuss Armadas. The speculations have been starting all over the game about Armadas, what that's going to look like. So I wanted to pick you guys and your brains about what you're seeing, and what are you seeing from among your subscribers, Jansen, and on your server. What are you seeing, Heck, on your ship's Discord channel, which I'm going to link in the description below, by the way, and yourself on your server, Anisius, on your game server and your Discord server, which I link also. What are you hearing in terms of what people think Armadas is going to be?
All right, so on my server, they're more interested in the 4-star ships, but I feel like those are going to come at the same time as Armadas, because those are two major things. So why keep them apart, and just when you could just release them at the same time? So, but what I think Armadas is going to be, it's going to be something where, like, it's probably a majority opinion on this, but they think there's going to be something where you can like organize a bunch of ships together, like I don't know, mass command them. Just instead of commanding one ship to go somewhere, you can command like 6 or 7 at the same time.
All.
Yeah, do something like that. That would be a great feature, and you can attack one ship with multiple. So there's some like missions out there with enemies that no one can beat right now, and
NPC bases,
if you
for
can
example.
yeah, and if you can attack with like 4 or 5 ships, that will make it so much easier and make so many more missions within reach for players at lower levels to do.
Is that not wishful thinking in some level, and that's what we want, but we're probably not going to get that? Like, people fail to remember that Scopely are the Ferengi. If you're dealing with
Are what?
Reality versus expectation.
The Ferengi, Scopely are the Ferengi.
I don't know what is that.
The race from Star Trek lore. The race, the Ferengi.
Oh. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say this. I'm not really a Star Trek fan.
Oh,
Bum,
shame,
bum,
shame, shame.
bum.
Oh my goodness.
But I know
Well,
everything
but
now.
you are now.
Sorry.
You are
I
now.
didn't want to drop the bomb, but I just did. No, I know Star Trek, but I'm not a Trekkie like I imagine you guys are. So I'm a fan as I'm playing the game, so I'm a fan, but not. I don't think not at you guys. But let's move on. This is too much of a bomb. So please carry on.
So I'm going to draw a lot of inspiration from Star Trek Alien Domain because that is another game. It is browser based. Typically, you'll play it from your PC. But from my perspective, Star Trek Fleet Command and Alien Domain, they look very similar to one another. You're both based on a station, you both upgrade ships and you go out in space and you do missions and you do battles. So in that game, the Armada there's a map of all these planets, and you are fighting with your alliance against another team. And you are going from planet to planet, conquering each planet. Then they're coming over and they're trying to reconquer the planet, and it's basically timed. Um, and basically, the winning alliance gets so many rewards, so many kinds of resources that they're going to need to upgrade ships and whatnot. I think it's probably going to be something similar. I can't see one person controlling the Armada.
Oh,
I would say it's going to be a group, but I think it's also going to be based on total combat power, so that a whale can't just kick an entire armada.
oh, but that's when I disagree. I think that the Armada is like Axe said. I think it's going to be, for example, I want to attack. Imagine I'm level again 28. I want to attack 32. I can't. So and I saw a screenshot that was shared into one of Amorgin's videos that actually, well, that next to the button of attack, there was a little bug that showed Armada. So what I think it will be is that when I press attack someone, if it will be level based. So I have a 38 level in my alliance, and I'm thinking that, you know, two or three, one alliance of 30 guys that is very low can actually, with Armada, win him. So I think Armada will be actually favoring the level players, because you can actually, if it's level based, you can actually have the little players able to win whales if they just have to be a lot, of course, to so it will be a joint of power. So I think that
Right.
you will have a button saying attack, and the other button on the side saying attack with Armada. And the moment you press that button, you will have other players that can join you. You just have to, I don't know, well, the mechanics exactly right now, but there will be a way. My first idea was that in the news panel will appear that the player something is doing an Armada attack and you could join, but should be something more easy, I think. I don't know yet how. I think it'll be a new tab in your phone saying the Armada attacks are happening, and you will be able to join him. Um, and I think that it will be you will have two options. Uh, if you want to attack or to defend, I don't know exactly what else. But mainly is that the ships will be able to join, and will be base level, and will be simple as to attack or attack with Armada, and the others could join. And that, I think, the main aspect of it, and I think Hack uh, was talking about it, it's the missions. You can have a real more gameplay with Armada, because you have your missions, you have Armada missions. You can have, and I think this will happen, I hope this will really happen, it's the NPC systems bases, where you can raid resources, can raid uncommon, and that with Armada, even alliance vs alliance with Armada. So it can really add um, a lot of gameplay to the game, and I think it will. Well, this is my idea, of course, but I think it will go around this, and then then I just have ideas like the NPC based systems or the missions like Exet. Um, i i yeah, I think
I
that
hope
Armada.
I hope they don't use your map for it. The map that you drew. I hope it's a little
No,
bit.
no,
Well,
no.
and
You're always
and
talking about
and
my
in
pizza.
and in that same game, another thing that they do is they'll have a Borg cube is flying through the universe and assimilating people. Join in the defense. And so it'll have a galaxy wide event where you have to go in and attack the cube. There's no way
Of
possibly
course.
that you'll win against it. But it's all about how much damage you can do. So I think it's going to be a mixture of a lot of those things we discussed. But at the end of the day, we still have no clue what it could be.
We have, because we are the best and we know this stuff.
Just from looking at from looking at Discord and the different forums and all, and I've seen a bit of debate on this. I've seen the Borg cube one before. I've seen the Ferengi being suggested before. Thaler's a big fan of the Ferengi and would love to see the Ferengi. And the chances of whether it's Borg or Ferengi, I'd probably be, if it was a betting man, I'd bet on Ferengi coming in some way to be able to affect the economy. And I think Thaler's ideas on that are very good. And Scopely being Ferengi, you'd imagine that would just fit. And and so we can be pretty sure that if the Ferengi come in, that Scopely have heard this and they've given us a subtle message that it's true. But anyway, we'll move on from that a little bit in terms of the Armadas. There was a little bit of debate I'd seen about the ability to borrow or loan ships. What do you guys think about that?
So, well, I think that's great. I think that makes no level unbeatable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That's very interesting, and actually it's good for the game because all the whales are bored because they have no one to play. There's no. It's good to be the best and be very big and very powerful, but then they all get bored because no one can raid their base, no one can fight them, and they just end up doing the gameplay of every player. So it will give them again a new boost, and for the small players as well, because they can, take a lot of res from a big player that they would never, because even for players, a big whale spends a lot of money. Small players that are small for a long time, people that don't want to spend money, they can actually have the same benefits as one as or almost the same benefits as someone who spends. So it creates a balance, I think, in the server that it's. Sorry, I'm talking too much again.
You're all good.
No, I think that's really good, and I think you brought up a good point, Morgan, is that you're going to be able to borrow ships. I don't think it is going to impact your personal missions, because I think those are
No,
set up
no.
specifically for you to spend, level up ships, and go the Scopely route with it. I do
Yes.
think that Inesius is on point with there being missions for the Armada itself, though.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. One thing I can
Yeah.
say for sure is they'll have an event with it when it comes out.
Yeah, pretty sure bet that, and probably something to spend your money on, some kind of new ship.
No, it's about shields because now, well, after some months, everyone knows how to shield. In the beginning, and we there was no tokens. People didn't know that they really had to shield. So for someone that likes to raid like me, it was heaven. And now everyone knows how to shield. We have tokens, so no one has a lot of res in their base because they know they can be raided, so they don't transform tokens into res. So it's really difficult to raid. So I think that they should create like a burst event, uh, one of those that you could join, and would be something like, um, if you join this event, you don't have a bubble for as long as the event starts. If you start a bubble, you are out of the event. And the thing will be that the resources for someone who joined the event would be like doubled. Instead of 1 million par, you would get 2 million par. And so if you join that event and you raid, you could also be raided. So it would create a lot of PvP, because people that were raiding would have to, if their base was found, they would have to relocate to keep raiding. And I think that will be very interesting, because it will be good, because people that are usually with a shield, they will like, I want have double res, so I'm not going to shield, I'm going to join the burst event, like a 1 hour burst event when you cannot have a bubble. That would be amazing, and would give PvP, it would give defense. So I just hope
Yeah,
Scopely hears this idea, because it's the shield is a problem.
well, for you at least. Me, I'm sitting under one all the time because, as soon as I come out, if it goes down for an hour, there's going to be some faction miner coming in and just sweeping out all my resources. So,
That would be me.
There will be me
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
but
Being
but
free to
that's
play, I just got
but
level
that's what
25. And,
but that's
so
yeah,
you guys that raid up there, I don't have a chance at doing anything. So
but but that's
I'm
what
not
I'm
coming out
saying.
as
It
a shield
would be
until I
a
spend
join
resources.
event. You would only join if you wanted to have the benefit of having double resources from raiding as well. It wouldn't be like a thing. It would only if you join. So everyone that didn't want to join, want to keep playing like they were playing, they could. But
So pretty
you
much a
know,
call to arms except PvP only, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that call to arms kind of does tick that box.
more or less, because in my server, when that event starts, people like put a bubble for a week or 3 days, or the longest as the event goes on. So it's actually uh, it's it's good because I have the price, but if a lot of people bubble, then you don't have a lot of people to rate.
Which would
So
bring us back to the idea of having NPC stations to raid,
mm-hmm,
so that you
mm-hmm,
have something
mm-hmm.
to do when people bubble. Um,
Yes.
yeah. No, all very interesting. I wanna start to finish up soon, guys. If you don't mind, I think we're at this about 40 odd minutes, 45 minutes. I just want to bring it back to Armadas in the sense of when you think we're going to be looking at it, when do you think it's going to happen? I think it's pretty soon. Some people have suggested it could be for the anniversary of global release, the 1 year anniversary.
Yes, makes sense.
Yeah, like it's probably a safe
Hmm.
enough bet that G4 ships and all, and when we can expect them. You were saying, I think, heck, you were saying, but why wouldn't it all be released at the one time? Do you think we're going to get an overload of everything on the first anniversary, or will we get some of this stuff sooner rather than later? Or
I think they're gonna this patch or whatever they're doing tomorrow. I feel like they're gonna release something with it. Not sure if it's new content, but I feel like there's gonna be something because when they said prepare Armadas, I was like,
Yeah,
either it's a
prepare.
month or two away, most likely, because they should have just kept coming soon if it's in November. That's
But
just my opinion on it.
it's a 1 hour update. You think they can do that? The Armada thing in 1 hour update?
no, I would
Well,
say they're
I
probably
mean,
fixing the issues with the last patch in that. I don't know though.
Well, Christmas is coming
true.
as well, so maybe 1 year they release something, and in Christmas they release another thing. I don't know. But
Yeah.
well, they changed from coming soon to prepare. So
So
well,
it's coming down the line. Either September or October is actually when I think Armadas is gonna be coming.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
probably right.
I definitely think it's going to be in the next 3 months, but I also think it's going to be in phases so that they can maximize
Of
sales
course, of
as
course.
they go along in phases.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Also true.
Do you think we'll get the G4 at the same time?
I don't think
Mm,
so. I think the
They might.
G4 will be further, but what do I
mm,
know?
So G4 at
I do.
They might
Christmas,
come.
I do think
Armadas.
G4.
that once G4 is announced and starts to get released, you're going to see those free to play players bounce way up.
Okay, so we're probably one way or the other. We're looking at January, February, March. Big changes for free to play.
Oh yeah.
Final thoughts on this forum, this panel. Final thoughts on issues with the game. Like you had wanted to throw in shields, for example. It's not something I had written down as a wee talking point, but an opportunity now
So
before we
I've
finish
got-
up.
Yeah, I've got one thing for Scopely, and that is to be more open with your community about what's coming up. Like, instead of giving us these 1 day prior notices, hey, shield up tomorrow at this time, let us know like a week in advance that you're going to be doing some type of server maintenance, or if you're going to have an upcoming event that or something new, like new content. That way we can get some time to generate hype and, let people know, because not everyone gets on every day to play.
Yeah, so when they tell us to, when they change the thing in Armadas, and they know that that's going to create a shockwave in the community when that little icon changes, and they use the word prepare. How are we supposed to prepare? Tell us what we need to prepare.
Maybe
Well,
they just changed the icon. Maybe nothing is going to happen.
Well, the other thing too is to come out with a calendar. Come out with a community calendar of events that are coming. I
Yes.
know things
Yes.
change so frequently over at Scopely because you have different teams working on different ideas and events, but give us a general heads up of what is going on so that we can prepare for these things.
Yes, at least to know the next one. I've if just the next one or the next two ones events, so we can prepare. I think that's a very good idea. Like they
Yeah,
did
yeah.
on Data and Swarm, they did a little map saying what's going to happen in that week, what will happen when, in what days. That is really helpful for you to also manage your life while you're playing.
We should be able to provide that resource, whether it's us as content creators, Jansen, whether it's the guys like Genesius or Heck on our Discord channels. Like I think Heck, you must have 1,000 people. Genesius, you've 400 or 500 anyway. Jansen, you have 1,000 subs. I'm up on 1,700. Like that's a good chunk of the community out there. That if we were able to reveal these calendars, people would see it. If it was up in the news section in the little view screen in the middle of the base, like they're using at the minute, sure, that would be great. We wouldn't have to do anything.
Just communicate more with the community and let us know ahead of time.
Yeah. I have been given out about that before, but listen, I'll not get into it again because I could get into more trouble. So I'm going to wrap it up at that, guys. I want to thank you really sincerely for coming and joining me. I hope the audio and all has come out okay, and we'll throw it up anyway, warts and all, and we'll see what people have to say because it's generating the discussion out there. And this wouldn't be happening without you guys. You are the guys that are out there keeping this community going. You are the guys that are hearing when somebody might be having a crisis in their real life and they might be coming to you, or you're providing advice and support to people all of the time. You're doing Scopely's job for them, and as I am myself in terms of customer support. So yeah, a big thank you to you guys for turning out and taking the time.
Well, thank you, Morgan, for hosting this. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you for this opportunity.
No bother. And we'll do it again, hopefully.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be a pleasure. Nice
yeah.
to talk to you guys.
A couple of other guys like Thaler and Billy and that will be more than happy, I'd say, to come in and chat with us on different occasions. So we'll build a little bit of a team here, and we'll do a couple of these over the next couple of weeks and see how they go. So I want to thank everybody for listening. I hope it was informative. I hope it's got the creative juices flowing. I hope you have come up with your ideas while you were watching, thinking, no, well, I would do it this way, or I'd like to see this come into the game. And if so, guys, leave your comments below. Check out the links to Anesius and Heck's Discord channels, and check out the link to Jansen's channel and give him a sub. So until the next time, guys, look after yourselves and look after each other, and I'll catch you all again very, very soon. Cheers.